Okay, we're about to be live here. Waiting for the okay. I think we made it. Okay, we're live, finally. Okay. Hey! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the... we changed it. It's actually the Live with Nick Zai. We're doing all these podcasts live now. Hopefully you can hear me well. We have a 2-mic setup for the first time, literally ever.
Did you go with Live with Nick Zai, or did you just go with Nick Zai Live?
I did Live with Nick Zai, but honestly, it could change at any moment.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't put it past you.
yeah. So, anyways, we're here. We're live. We're at the beach here in Texas. We've been here for a couple days. And, yes, we're live with Jessie, Joyfully Human, my girlfriend, again, because we're talking today about rooftop tenting and all of the wonderful things associated with what it's been like the last couple months. And also, if you're here with us live, Alex, what up, homie? I see you, my friend. Hopefully you're doing well. And let us know if our mic volumes aren't good. I did as much testing as I could, but it's a lot. Oh, we got birds literally right next to us. Okay.
They're just coming to say hi.
So, anyways, it's a live environment. We could go out at any point. We got people looking. I swear to God, every single person. This is okay.
This
Number
is
one
why
thing
we're
about
doing
the
the
rooftop tent that you should know.
You get a lot of attention.
Every single person that goes by you when you're in a rooftop tent is dead ass
It's
gonna
like-
look at you. So just prepare yourself, because everybody.
Attention grabber, which
Yeah.
obviously has its pros and cons. If you're building an online following, that's good because you meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we've actually made so many friends with people and followed them on Instagram, and we've met other overlanders who have overlanding groups, and we've met other people who travel the U.S. who are documenting their journey, and so we're staying in touch with them.
Yes.
But yeah, be prepared for everybody and their mother to ask you questions about how did you do that? What is the roof rack? How do you get your dog in there?
What's it made of?
Every
Like
question.
literally while I was setting this up, somebody's like, "Hey, what you doing?" Like as they're driving by, like what? What do you want, bro? That's just it. That's just
Yeah.
people are curious.
They're so curious.
Oh, and you were gonna say something about the live.
Yeah, so before we get too into it, I just want to...
It's January 14th right now. If you're watching this on the replay.
It's January 14th. I just want to be sensitive to the energy that is in the air, that's in the collective. We are very aware of everything that's going on. We have extensively researched and followed everything that's going on in the world for years now. And we're very aware of what's going on, so we're not doing this live out of insensitivity to those things, but rather more to just kind of show that, you know, if we were able to do this overlanding experience in one of the most chaotic, crazy times possibly ever on the planet, that this is very, very doable for you as well, even if it's very doable for you if it's something that you actually are interested in doing, obviously.
Right.
We would never push somebody into this lifestyle who does not want to do it or who is not ready for it. But we just want to kind of be role models in that way for this new lifestyle. And also just to honestly get our minds off of everything that's going on a little bit, because for me anyway, when I really went into the rabbit hole, I mean, I knew a lot of things, but I really dug into the rabbit hole back in February and March of 2020. I had been waiting for certain events to happen, and I would keep getting messages that this event is going to happen or this thing is going to happen, and it almost kept my life on pause a little bit, or it kept me distracted from doing things that I knew were going to propel me in my personal life, my professional life forwards. So we're just taking all of that into account, but also continuing on with our lives as best we can, but also holding space for everything that's happening. So if you're feeling very chaotic, or if you're feeling ungrounded, or if you have a lot of things coming up for you, know that you're not alone. I personally am a very, very empathic person. I'm very sensitive to energies. Nick is too. We are in different ways, but I've been going through challenges of things that are coming up physically for me in my body, and I believe that that's in part due to what's going on collectively now.
Yeah. So we're very aware of what's happening in the world at this particular.
We're not ignoring it.
Yeah. So
like a lot of people are, and that's kind of feels weird to me.
Yeah,
so.
We're not trying to say things aren't happening, or that the world is fine and everything's okay. I mean, it technically from a higher level it is fine.
Yeah.
Fine, but in this episode particularly, we understand that it's crazy out there right now, and we know that. And we're really doing this to honestly get your mind off of.
Hopefully, be a little bit entertaining.
Yeah, you just keep going down, and you keep researching, you keep trying to figure out what's going on, and it's just never ending. So, take this as a kind of relaxing, kind of just understanding. Maybe doing something else, trying something else. And if you're not even interested in overlanding or rooftop tenting, at least you'll have the information. Maybe you will someday. Because, to be honest, it was 3 or 4 years when I knew about overlanding before I actually did it. Did I think that I was going to do it? No. I mean, I didn't think at the time, at the beginning, I thought, oh, this is badass. But I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it. And then, as you start researching, you're like, oh, I can do this, I can do this. And then I was like, I really want to do it, but I don't have anybody to do it with, and I didn't have the funds to do it. And then I just trusted, and we just got here. So this is 2 months in, so I'm sure at some point we'll do more kind of reviews on what it's like to actually live full-time out of this, and some pro tips.
We're just fresh right now.
Yeah, I mean,
we're fresh.
I mean, let's just say, I feel like 2 months is a good time, though. I mean, it's a good amount of time. We're not completely fresh. Like, we've been out here.
Meaning that we now have fully transitioned into feeling like this is our life.
Yes.
I would say for the first month, it still felt like we're just on vacation. We're just doing this for a short time. But now it really feels like, yeah, this is our lifestyle now.
Yeah, like...
And this is the new normal.
Yep, you'll get there eventually where you're just like, okay, this is it. Like, this is what we're doing. And you can always, okay, this is, I guess, the first thing. I don't have a list, by the way. I'm just going to start naming things, so no particular order. To know is that there's not much to lose. On this particular rooftop tent experience, it's not like you're financing something for $60,000. You're not. It does not cost that much. So
right.
Just be aware. You can do this in a ground tent if you want. You don't have to have a rooftop tent.
Right.
We've experienced that. Actually, right now, in our stuff, we actually have a tent that's specifically a ground tent, and we have a rooftop tent. So we have both. So when we want that 3-room style...
And look, somebody's taking a picture of us right now. Hi!
Hi! Oh,
no, go for it, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
See, this happens all the time.
She was like, I hope you don't mind. Like, hey, this is what we do. And so
that's where, for us too, we both really like our privacy and our alone time. So it has taken some adjustment to not feel like we're like these get off my lawn type people.
Yeah.
But honestly, whoop, I just messed up the mic.
That's okay. You're good.
But honestly, it's fun, and people are friendly. They're just curious.
Yeah. So yeah, again, you're gonna get a lot of people who seriously will
just now.
Yeah, will literally in real time just be like taking pictures. I kid you not. Since we've been here, I feel like in Texas, people just don't know. They just don't know. Because we're on a beach. There's no other tents like this on the beach. Know that you're going to be unique. So first of all, it's amazing because nobody else has it.
Exactly.
You'll get so many people that are like, "Oh, this is so cool. How'd you do this? I didn't know you could do this." So it's kind of a new thing. I feel like newer. Yeah. So that's amazing how you're kind of leading the charge on this. Yeah. Kind of on this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So.
And I would say, so you made 2 points there. You were talking about how very doable and inexpensive it is.
Yeah.
And then you also were talking about the ground tent versus the rooftop tent. So
yeah.
To address the finances, I would say with everything, and this is including, we have solar panels, we have...
Well, let's go through the prices of each thing in particular.
Oh, you're going to go through the list.
We're going to do that eventually.
We're going to do that? Okay.
We're going to do that towards the end.
Okay, cool.
And I'm going to tell people how I know roughly how many like how much each thing
He
costs.
did
I
his
remember.
research.
Yeah,
He
I did my
really,
research.
really did his research.
I figured out the most efficient things. So the things I'm going to give you at the end. So if you watch to the end, listen, you're going to get the goodies, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a list out. I'm not sponsored by anybody, 0 people. And these are just the things that I found that was what you need. And there are very particular things that you are going to want to know in this episode.
Yeah.
And I got my bracelet shaking when I'm saying that because there's certain types of solar generators that you want because you don't want other ones because they're not going to be what you want. You're going to have problems. You need to probably get extras of certain things. So we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But then going back to the ground tent versus the rooftop tent, yeah, you obviously can definitely do this in a ground tent. We actually have some best friends who did that for years.
Yeah.
But for us, what's been really nice is that the rooftop tent, first of all, it just flips right open. So once you're familiar with the setup and everything, I would say the first time we did it, it took us about an hour, and then the second time it took us 30 minutes, and now it takes Nick about 5 minutes to get it open. Not even.
Maybe 5 minutes.
Maybe.
Probably. I mean, you got to unzip it. Literally in rooftop tents, most rooftop tents, you are going to have a couple different things, right? The rooftop tent that we have is the Smitty-built XL Gen 2 Overlander tent. XL.
The big boy.
Get the XL if you can. You are going to want the space if you're in this full time. I promise you.
Yeah.
A lot of the, pro tip, a lot of the hard shell tents that we see out here, they are small.
Yeah,
So,
really
and
small.
they're more expensive. There is no reason why I would go with a hard shell tent. If I'm looking at just pure expenses, why would I go with hard shell? Because it's not hard shell all around. Like there's very
No.
rarely hard shell all around. They're mostly hard shell on the top and the bottom.
Right.
That doesn't matter. Literally, don't do that. Unless you
doesn't
find an
matter.
amazing one I don't know about, I'm not the god of this information. But from what my research and what we're doing, it's no problem living in a tent. The one thing you need to know about living in a tent, not the one thing. I say that a lot, but I'm really just meaning one thing. Not the, but one thing. Is that in the tent, you are going to hear other people a lot.
Yeah.
So just prepare yourself for that and know that with the rooftop tent, a lot of the point of getting the rooftop tent is to go out where you can't hear people.
Yes, and that is exactly we were going to transition into talking about the pros and cons of having the rooftop tent versus having something that's hard shell like a camper or like a trailer type system or an RV or something like that. But before we do that, I just want to briefly touch on it is so nice to be off the ground.
Oh.
It is so nice. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't really anticipate how much that was going to make a difference and just feeling safe. Because when you're on the ground, the animals are right there.
You are on the level of all the creatures and
Right.
when you're not conscious.
Right.
And for me, I agree.
Yeah. And so, I'm not saying we haven't really encountered too many animals that were, we felt unsafe in general, or we felt like we wouldn't be safe in a tent, but just for general safety, I feel like it feels so much better.
It does. Prepare for this, by the way.
And I also, I had this thought the other day, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, so there might be somebody out there who's like a biologist or a geneticist or something who might correct me, but I just feel like as human beings, like, we are primates. And what do our other primate relatives do? Monkeys, gorillas, all this. They climb trees, right? Like, they're used to being up high and climbing to get out of nature. And so, like, evolutionarily, we haven't been out of that for too long. So I just feel like there's something about
She likes the treehouse. She loves
I've always
the treehouse. Okay,
I've
that's
always
what she's trying
wanted
to
a
say.
treehouse, and now I have one, and
Yeah.
it's so great.
For those listening on Spotify or on the replay that isn't watching the visual, I'm just getting water out of the gallon. That's what I meant. Prepare for that. Because you
Yeah.
are going to... You have limited amount of resources, okay? That's one thing. I mean, I guess let's just hit the pros and cons now. Because it's that way I feel like we're just going to hit a lot of different topics, and we can just go from there.
Yeah.
Okay? So a pro is that you're off the ground. And it is so nice to be off the ground. You can
Yes.
look at the stars at night. You can hang your feet from it. It's so amazing. feeling really safe. Ain't nobody coming up that ladder. You can be on the beach. You're not getting a shit ton of sand in your stuff. You are just chilling. Right? There's so many benefits to having the rooftop tent over the ground tent, but it is 10 times more expensive.
Yeah. So there's that. I would say something that could be seen as both a pro and a con is that when you're in this lifestyle in general, you become very aware of how much resources you have.
Yes.
And how much you use. So you
yeah.
become very aware about how much water you use, how much toilet paper you use, how much food you go through. Everything just you become more aware. You know, you're not just going out and snacking on random stuff, because usually making food.
You are sometimes.
Usually making food is a process. You know, you get the propane stove out and you get the water out, and then you have to do the dishes, and the dishes take twice as long as they normally would. So there's this element of intense gratitude that I felt from living this lifestyle and being very aware of the impact that I have and everything that I use. And so you could look at that as a negative, like, oh, I don't have the creature comforts that I would in a house, or I don't have the ability to take a hot shower whenever I want. But I would say
not true. You
can
take a hot shower whenever you want.
Or just not maybe as long of a hot shower.
You can. You're just going to have to make sure you have enough water.
Well, right. That's exactly what I'm saying. And so I see it as a good thing, because I've felt so much more gratitude for the earth and for everything in general, just living this way.
Yeah, I think that the pros and cons, how I would put that one would be the pro is that you are more aligned to Earth, but it might not be a pro to some egos. Because it's a pro because you're using less material, you're reusing stuff, you're making sure that you're recycling, you're doing all this, and you can do that all in the house. I'm talking about, though, like, you're not using extra water. Like, there's a pro and a con of not having enough shower water. The pro is that you're not using as much water, so that's better for the earth because you're consuming less resources. But the con is that it isn't as enjoyable for some people, so it's just how are you looking at it?
Yeah, and you could even think of it, though, as well as, it's a negative for the ego, but also one thing that helps us feel grounded and in our bodies as humans, because we are souls having a temporary human experience, but we did come here to experience life in a body. And one thing that helps us feel grounded in our bodies is like knowing that our survival needs are met, and knowing that if something were to happen, that we have food and we have water and we have shelter. And you're not gonna lie, there have been times where we're like feeling a little bit ungrounded, because we're like, oh, if something were to happen, do we have enough food? Do we have enough water? Do we have enough gas? Do we have these things? And so it's good on the one hand, because if some sort of event were to happen and we'd have to move really quickly, like, we literally have everything. And if the power went out,
root chakra is feeling really good.
Yeah, if the power went out, let's say, we wouldn't even know, really, because we use solar.
We're on solar right now.
And we're not really connected to the grid, so to speak.
So you're completely self-sustainable.
But we have limited space to store food and stuff. Food and water, so.
Right, and so it's also very important to figure out what you're going to be in. Because we are in a CX-5, Mazda CX-5, 2016, and with 2 people and a dog, space and the amount of stuff you can carry is limited. But if it was just one person and a dog, it probably wouldn't be near as cramped. You could have much more stuff. So just know that you are going to need, I'm just going to straight up tell you, you are going to need a platform for the back of your car. If you're going to do this full time, you aren't going to have enough room without some sort of platform. And good news is it's $50 at Harbor Freight for the platform that we got.
Well, some people, like, if somebody just did this by themselves, maybe not, because we also carry our juicer, our blender, our singing bowls. We have a bunch of books that we carry, so it also just kind of depends what you want to bring with you.
And it depends on if you're doing it in the winter or not. Like, we need the reason I'm saying we need the platform is because we are in the winter time, and we need that 20-pound propane tank.
Might not look like it.
Yeah, it's winter. I mean, it's January. It's still cold. We still run the heater at night.
Yeah.
Like, it's still kind of cold, and we just wanted it to be comfortable. Like, we want to be comfortable, and propane is not that expensive. So if you think that getting a propane heater and heating in the thing is expensive, it's not. So don't worry about that. Propane is cheap. You can get it pretty much at a lot of different places. Tractor Supply has it. Ace Hardwares have it. You are fine. So the back platform is needed for the amount of water that we carry. That jug that you just saw, if you're watching, the 6-gallon jug, we have 3 of those. So having your water in the back gives you the safety that your shit's not going to get wet on the inside. So I think it's a must. Personally, it's a must to have the platform.
Yeah.
With how much water I want to
The
live.
water. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to live for days and days off the grid. And if you don't have a lot of water, you aren't going to be able to do it. So just that's why we carry so much water, because we want to, like, we've been out here for 2 days. We haven't even used one full thing of water yet. We are about to empty the first thing of water in 2 days. And that'll be by the end of the day. We'll probably be done. So we could probably be out here for 6 days with 6 gallons. And that's with not really caring about water. We're not, we're not rationing water or anything. So, but yeah, pro is basically you are going to have you're going to have a lot of off-grid sustainability, but the con is that that's limited. But it's limited because of the amount of space you have. So if you do this in a van, it's going to be different. You do this in a motorhome, you're going to have a lot more space, but you're not going to be able to get as off-grid as we do. We've been to some pretty gnarly spots that you could not get to in a motorhome.
Even in not having 4-wheel drive.
Without 4-wheel drive, we went to some 4-wheel drive only places.
Some really crazy. I mean, but Nick always says that it's all about being a good driver, basically. Like, he's a really good driver.
Well, you just got to know what the limits are of your vehicle, and
I wouldn't have been able to get us in and out of those places.
That thing has a sport mode, which is nice as well. But yeah, so that's one thing. How warm are you two at night? At night, we are crispy warm. We are literally 70 degrees. God is good.
Well, we should talk about our
that's the struggle.
Little trial and error process that we went through to get heat. First of all, I don't think either one of us really anticipated how cold we were going to be, because we thought we'll just go to the desert and we'll just go to these places that are warm. And I mean, even I've lived in Phoenix most of my life, but a lot of those places still can get down to 30 degrees at
20.
night.
Some of it was 27.
And so like
in
Sedona, it did get down into the 20s some nights. So we obviously invested in some good sleeping bags. That's number one.
Yeah.
And then when it got really cold, we're like, we're gonna zip our sleeping bags together so we can have body heat. So that was the second up level. And then we tried to get this heated blanket, because at first we were skeptical of, is it safe to have a propane heater in the tent or not? We heard some horror stories about that. We were looking into getting a diesel heater, but we weren't in a good spot where we could order one.
Because it was Amazon only.
So we were running into all these problems. So we got this heated blanket that ended up, literally, I had it on the lowest setting. We were sitting in the car and we were like, what does that smell? And the blanket was literally burning.
The blanket was burning in her lap.
Yeah. So that was a no.
Yeah.
And then we finally we kind of just gave up, because we also were like, Jax was shivering at night.
It was really about Jax.
A lot of it was about Jax.
He was shivering. We were okay. We could have done it without heat. Yeah. Definitely we could have done it. But Jax was shivering, and he's a long-haired dog.
And we wanted to be comfortable, because the other thing that you don't really think about is when you're in a house, when the sun goes down, we have really good artificial lights that kind of keep us going for a while. And then, why are you looking at me like that?
Nothing, go ahead.
Okay. When you're in a house, you have really good artificial lights that kind of keep you going at night. But when you're out in nature and you don't have those artificial lights, then you kind of just want to curl up and go to bed as soon as the sun goes down.
Oh, the sun goes down very early.
The sun was going down at like 5 p.m. and so we were feeling like, wow, we really only have from like 7:30 in the morning until 5 p.m. to really get out and do stuff. And then we felt like we just need to huddle in the tent for warmth. So it also, getting the heater allowed us to feel like we could actually still get work done at night. We could still read. We could still stretch. We could still do stuff.
Yes, and that reminds me of this is a really good point. Super good point. There's two things here. Hopefully I remember them both. The first thing is you got to remember that, yes, you are in a rooftop tent, but that does not mean, this is me, trial and error. You can still use your car. Use your car as a workstation. Jessie works really well with her back, no back support, and you're fine. I don't. I've been in a desk chair for a lot of my life, and like, I'm working up to it, but just, I don't know. It's just not comfortable for me to sit with no back support. So you can use your car as heat. We have two rooms. We have an upstairs and a downstairs, okay? The downstairs I'm in most of the time because I've been sitting at, she doesn't like sitting at the, I sit on the passenger side of the car.
It feels like I'm in a bucket.
And I work, I like the bucket seat. I sit in the car, and that's where I edit my videos. That's where I do stuff. And I have heat in there. So just know, you know, that's one thing to realize is that you have two separate areas. Even if you don't get the ground tent too. If you get the ground tent too, you have 3 areas. And you have 4 areas because you got the outdoors. Yes, that's another point. The outside is literally your backyard. That is such a pro. I can't even explain how amazing it is that we are in Texas on the Gulf of Mexico for the cheapest. We are definitely the cheapest setup here.
Yeah.
There are no other ground tents here. If there were, they would be cheaper. But we have the cheapest setup. We didn't pay that much, and we are out here with all the motorhomes and doing it. And it's not that bad.
And we paid like $5 to stay here, too.
Yeah, the permit was like $5. So
ridiculously
it's
cheap.
just incredible the things that you can do that you didn't know that you could do until you invest in this. And even if you do this at the beginning, not even full time, if you just do it just to try it out, you're going to love it. I think that the only way you're not going to love it is if you do what we did and you don't get a heater and you go in the dead ass winter.
Just go all in.
Don't do that. Don't go.
Although I will say,
don't go in the winter.
I will say that I have become acclimatized slightly.
It gets better.
I'm noticing that I am able to handle colder temperatures now than I was before.
Yeah.
So your tolerance to it does build.
Yes.
And that's also, I think, part of the methodology behind why people do Wim Hof and they get in cold lakes and stuff, is to like build up their tolerance to things. So it's kind of like doing that, but slowly.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's super important to know that the winter is just temporary, because right now in parts well, I'm just going to be completely honest, it is not fun if you don't have a heater and you're in that tent and you're cold at night and everything's cold and you're just like, oh, I have to sit in the car or be in the tent.
Yeah,
that's not why you do this lifestyle. That is not why you do it. So
and then you like make your warm food and then it's like cold by the time you eat it. So
you have to like literally put it in containers just to get it up to the tent. By the time you get in the tent, it would have been cold otherwise. Like, so just know that the winter season is different in the rooftop tent, and it is not as enjoyable for us. So, but we found a way to that it is enjoyable by being in Texas at a beach. So there are solutions.
Yeah.
You just have to look around for them. And so you can do things like stay at campgrounds. We haven't really done it because we've been completely off grid. We're kind of like, what's the point? You can stay at hotels every once in a while because you're not paying rent. And that is going to be a thing that if you're getting tired of it, it will refresh you. It will charge up your batteries. So just know that, hey, if you're doing this full time and you're living on the road, you're not paying rent. So, you know, that's extra cash because your tent will pay itself off in months.
That's what I was going to say too. Something that we learned through this process is that originally we were thinking, yeah, we'll probably be off grid 2/3 of the time and at campsites 1/3 of the time roughly or something. But what we figured out is that we would way rather either be totally off grid, you know, it's like having one extreme or the other. So we found that we didn't really like staying at campsites too much because it didn't really feel like a break.
Well, campgrounds,
sorry. Yeah, we didn't really like campgrounds
or near
that much.
Other people. Really.
Because first of all, you're near other people, and second of all, it just doesn't feel like you're getting a break. So what we'd rather do is like rather than staying, a couple days a week at a campground, we would rather just be off grid the majority of the time and get a hotel or an Airbnb like 2 or 3 times a month, because then we actually feel like we can be completely refreshed.
Yes.
Like a nice, like a real bed, so to speak, and a real
just
shower.
A kitchen,
and
a shower,
kitchen.
our own place.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
And spread out for
yes.
couple days.
Yeah, super important to realize is that you are gonna have the funds to do these things, more than likely, and also know that this is just 2 months in our experiment, and that when it gets warmer, we may not want the hotel. But right now, we just every once in a while have been like, oh, we're feeling really shitty today. Like, we drove, probably ended up being 19 to 20 hours straight from Lake Havasu on the California to Arizona border all the way here, and we just decided, we deserve a hotel for a night, and we paid $60 and we got a hotel. I mean, but it's not even that bad. And I also realized that this is just a low-key point. You need to be particular on where you're staying, because if you stay in a hotel that's crowded or places that it's really loud, like the place where we stayed was loud, I literally regretted not just going out to the beach, because I'm here now and I'm like, oh my god, I should have just came here in the first place. So just know, you think you want comfort, and then sometimes that comfort that you think you want isn't as comfortable as what you're learning to fully enjoy. But it's not like alcohol where you have to drink it so much until you enjoy it. For me, at least. So don't think that it's going to suck at the beginning. What I want to relay to you the most in this is that this is absolutely the greatest decision that I've made when it comes to living. This is just me. This is not speaking for you. You can say what you'd like after, but I would rather be doing nothing else than live in this tent, because it is the most amazing thing. You feel so aligned to nature. You feel so good that you are using only the things that you need. You have only the material possessions that you need. Like, I only have camera gear, clothes, and like the essentials. And you don't have anything else. You don't have stuff weighing you down. That energetically gave me such a boost to know that I don't have stuff sitting anywhere. And literally everything that I own is with me. That is such an amazing feeling to have, and you probably won't understand it until you do it. But it is so brilliant. And I think you've said this to me before. I think everybody should do this at some point to realize what it would be like.
Yes.
And so
I agree. I agree.
Everybody should do this at some point, just to realize how much they use on a daily basis, and it would definitely decrease the amount of resources that people use by so much. And so another guy waved. That's how it is. But that's another thing to realize. So that's what I just want to say, is that we're going to be talking about cons and pros, but my overall take is I'm not trying to convince you to do it. I'm trying to give you the unbiased, like, I don't care what you do, review of, like, this is what it's really, really like. Like, we aren't out here trying to give you the glamorous lifestyle of this is how amazing it is. Not at this moment. Sometimes I might be flying the drones and making cool videos. And that moment, we're getting the Libra out and we're making things look amazing. But this, right now, I'm giving you the details so if you really want to do this, this is really what it's going to be like.
Yeah. I think for me, I much more just appreciate what this has allowed for me as far as the freedom.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's like easy, and I'm not even necessarily saying it's the best living decision I've ever made, but I would say just in terms of, the freedom that it allows for is like no other. It's really freeing. And right now it's working for us really well. And I don't know what the future holds. Yeah.
That was just one point, though. My point, too. Like, that's really, I mean, of course it's great. You're doing things for the earth and you're being great. I mean, that's like, of course, it's heart centering to know that you're doing that. But the amount of freedom that you have your own space. It's only you and nature. You get to decide who your neighbors are. Huge.
Yeah.
You get to decide where you live. Huge. You get to decide where you want to be at any given moment. Huge. There are no obligations to ever be anywhere. Huge. This is things that a lot of people struggle with. I know a lot of people that struggle with this stuff because it's like, I don't want to be where I'm at. I don't want to be doing what I'm doing. Well, let me tell you, when you get out here, you're going to find out real quick what you really like.
Yep.
Because you're going to find out if you like where you're at. If you don't, you just leave. You're going to find out what you like doing daily and what's serving you and what's not serving you, because there's not distractions out here.
Yeah.
You know, when you get rid of the distractions that you have in your life and you just focus on living, and then you are fully, once you figure this out, basically is what I'm trying to say, you will then realize, okay, my survival needs are met, we're good. Now I can focus on what I need to focus on. It's not as bad as it seems. That you're not always working on stuff, you're not always cooking, cleaning, and that's kind of the point of living this lifestyle, is to be minimal.
It's very simple. There's a simplicity to it that is peaceful.
Yeah. Super peaceful. I mean, all we've heard is waves for the past 2 days. How peaceful is that?
So what are some things that you've learned?
You don't need a toilet. You don't need it. Don't waste your money. Unless you're bougie.
Should we tell them about our little toilet experiment?
Yeah, so at first I thought that she was going to want a toilet because, you know, women things. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get her a toilet. I was fine. Personally, I was like, okay, I could probably do it, but might as well. I was like, okay, well, might as well get a toilet. You know, and part of me is like, yeah, I want a toilet. Okay,
we're really getting into it now.
Yeah, let's get it. Toilet talk. Boom. And so you are just not going to need a toilet because you realize how annoying it is to dump that thing. And
so,
literally just dig holes, my friend. Dig holes in the ground. Make sure you're not near water, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you are...
If you have like knee or back problems, obviously, probably be worth to have a toilet.
But they make portable toilets. Don't get like a cassette toilet. They make portable toilets that you can eradicate into the bag.
You can void.
Yeah, you can void into the bag. Those are fine because they don't take up a lot of space. You weren't gonna want to. It's not worth it to have the space. It takes up so much space. It actually smells gross after a while.
Smells so
or
bad.
You have to put chemicals, which is the opposite of being natural, which is what we're trying to do. And so, like, we don't want to smell the chemicals. We just don't want to deal with it. So we dumped it. We had one. We dumped it once, and we were like, nope.
We're done.
So we got rid of it.
It was so gross. And also, what had happened too was that we filled it up because you can go in it, like I think it says between 30 and 50 times or whatever. And so we used it up, and we were like, shit. Do we go dump it today or do we just dig holes? And it's like, let's just try digging holes. And you guys, this is gonna sound so weird, but there is something so freeing and liberating about pooping outside.
Hey.
I don't know what it is, but like
good.
I dug that hole. And okay, little side tangent, but our anatomy is like literally designed for us to void in a squatting position, and when you literally dig a hole and squat over the earth, it just like, it's so easy. It's so easy.
Yeah, we don't mean to bore you, but just know that your body is meant to void through digging in a hole because of the anatomy of the position of your body when you do that. So we found that literally more comes out in one sense, to just know that you are going to be very efficient. Okay, you're not going to take up as much room. Let's not talk about the toilet for forever, but
I think
you
that's
just don't need it.
though. Yeah.
It is important, but
because I thought that was something that I needed.
That was like one thing she was like, "Oh, we need a toilet."
Yeah,
I
really thought that I needed that,
and then now you don't.
And now
you literally just have a privacy. You need a privacy tent though.
And now I'm at the beach and I have to remember that there's people around and I can't just pee outside.
Right, which is why we have the privacy tent so you need a little privacy tent. That's one thing. Okay, we're gonna go through at the end, but just know that we're saying you don't need a toilet, but we're not saying you're just gonna, hey guys, dropping it down right here.
No,
don't look.
That's a whole other level, like, and that's also illegal. So just don't do that.
Yeah, we're not trying to do illegal things. No. I'm just saying we have figured out a way to where you have a privacy tent, you dig a hole, and you can literally either scoop it up and put it into a garbage bag, or you can just bury it, depending on how
depending on
close
where
you
you're
are to
in
water,
nature.
where you're at in nature.
And a lot of places like the beach, there's porta potties and stuff. So we
There's a porta potty right down there, and I bike my bike down there. So and that's good.
Yeah, so toilet stuff.
Yeah, so now you know.
All right, how about other hygiene stuff?
What have I learned?
Yeah.
What have I learned? If you're drinking a lot of cacao, like I do, you don't anymore because of what's happening with you, but if you drink a lot of chocolate or coffee, you need to brush your teeth. I mean that's really just in general, but just know that
you brush your teeth anyway.
I know.
What are you talking about?
Wait a second. There's a point. The point is that you are going to have a lot of hot drinks. That's what I've learned, at least when it's cold. So I'm actually brushing my teeth more because I'm having a lot of hot drinks. Because when you don't, you have to go outside a lot to do a lot of things, which is nice, but in the winter, you're going to have a lot of hot drinks. So just be prepared. Find things that you like. Also, there's a bunch of other things that we get into that we have done to make it easier. But that's one thing I've learned is that I really enjoy hot tea. I enjoy hot mushroom drinks, mushroom coffee, and things like that we drink. That we get like mud water. We really enjoyed that for a long time, and so I think that one thing that I've learned is that you're gonna need a balance, and so when you're in a rooftop tent, you're gonna need a balance of how much you're with the other person, and this is just kind of like when it comes to two people. If you're doing this with two people, just know that real quick you are going to need to find ways to have your own space that involve leaving in some way.
Yes.
And that can be like we will go to hiking trails, and she might go on a hike and I might go get groceries,
or we'll do different hikes.
Yes, or I'll go on a hike somewhere and then I'll drop her off.
I'll work in the car while he goes on a hike.
Or I'll edit videos. Like, just you're gonna have to realize that
this is energetic hygiene, guys.
Yeah. So if you're doing this with somebody else, you need to find ways. Like, she might go on a walk. Like this morning, she went on a walk, and I didn't. I just I started making the thumbnail for this live stream. That's how it works. Like a lot of the times, I'm working on video. Like, there it is again. People just waving.
It's like we have one car.
Yeah, you have one car.
So we have to get creative with how we spend our separateness.
Yeah, and one thing for me is I put out that intention into the cosmos for a while that I wanted to make a community of people that travel around together, and that's always been a thing that I've wanted for a long time. So I know that that's coming, and then that'll bring more dynamics to when you're actually traveling with people. So we don't know what it's like to travel with other people yet, but I'm sure we will soon, because I know that that's coming. That people are going to start traveling around with us. So on the next one in the future, I'm sure we'll address that when we have more experience. But at least we can address what it's like to be with one other person when you're actually traveling. Like, you're traveling in the car with them. You're actually living with them. You're not just traveling with them and they're in a different vehicle.
It's a huge catalyst for growth, y'all.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of shadow work. You're going to have a lot of what do I need to do to better serve the other person.
Get on each other's nerves a little bit, and then
you got on each other's nerves because you need to figure out what the other person likes and what they need, and how they need to be addressed, and what they're all about.
It's a whole other level. Like, even living with somebody in a house, and you have two different cars, and you can have the freedom to do whatever you want, and you work separately. Like, you each drive to work and you come back. It's so different because we are living, sleeping, working, all of the things, all up in each other's space all the time.
Yeah. Yes. And also know that
I love you.
I love you. Just know that also it's important when we talk. I know there's probably going to be people that are asking for finances. What do you do? Like, how does this work on the road? And just know that if you are planning on doing this, unless you have a lot of money saved up, it's not going to cost you a lot of money to do this. You could probably do it for a couple of years, or I don't know how much money that you have. Just know that you are going to want to start doing things to where you can make money while you're traveling.
Right.
So we have, like, she has clients. I've been working on getting clients going for myself and doing one-on-ones for myself because I enjoy, and I know that I'm very gifted in that arena too. So I'm trying to find that for myself, and I do other things too. I'm just saying there's so many different ways to make money. You can also know that on January 14th. The world may look like a very different place with the wealth redistribution if that were to happen. So
Yeah,
we don't know what the future looks like, but for right now, just know, even probably in the future, you're going to want to find a way to go even or above even. And that's going to be by having some sort of skill or some trade that you can do that people will benefit from. Like my skill is making my skill is making podcasts. My skill is talking. My skill is voice. My skill is just helping people to understand themselves because I've went so deep within me. So mine's a very general skill, and I'm developing more skills when it comes to different things, and we're getting there. And I'm sure in the next month I'm going to offer a course, and like we've been working on this stuff because I've been developing for years and years since 2014 when I first started learning about spirituality and what's going on with the world. Eventually, you start to pick up on what you really want to do. So just know that if you're thinking about doing this, start thinking about how you can create a abundance for yourself so that you can afford to do this in the long term. And if you have enough money saved up to do it at the beginning, then I'd say I'm not about to tell you to not do it, because I'm going to tell you to do it. Personally, that's what we have done, and it has worked out for us tremendously. Like, I don't regret a damn thing. So know that you don't have to have a specific income to start, but know that there is a finite amount of money when you aren't making any money, and that spending that efficiently, first of all, and then also creating abundance for yourself through clients, courses, whatever your skills are, is going to be important. And that could even be working remotely with the job you already have.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. So many people already work online, especially with everything that happened in 2020. A lot of people transitioned to working online if they could.
Yeah.
So we've met so many people who literally just kept the job they already had when they hit the road. And
they just work remotely.
They just work remotely, and they look for sites on this app called Campendium, which is amazing because it shows you what sites you're going to have cell service at or good signal at.
So good.
So
let's say that again.
Yeah.
Campendium. 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 Campendium.
Yeah.
You need this app if you are going to be traveling, because this is, again, a pro tip, I guess you could say, after doing it, is that we found this place on Campendium.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it literally will tell you. You search for a location, and it will tell you where there is dispersed camping. There's reviews for what it's like, and there's how good a cell service even. And people will tell you about it. Like, people told us on the review for this place that if you drove down a couple miles, you could be not near everybody. And so here we are. So Campendium is a must-have. You can even, if you are not out in a tent yet or not out doing it yet, then I would suggest even getting the app and start looking around and see kind of what it would be like. If I were you, I would start imagining what it would be like to do this, because that's what I did. I'm thinking about like what it would really be like, and was it exactly like it? No, because it never is.
No.
But start visualizing what the experience would be like to do this. And so we don't know what the future is going to hold for us, and so we'll see where we go in terms of the future and the evolution of us. But I think that for this specific build that we have right now, we did a fantastic job, because there's only a couple things that have happened that we are just unfortunate that we can do nothing about. Like our literally just the other day, our shower broke somehow, and there was no explanation of why it broke. It just broke. So we have to order a new one. So those are things that you just got to prepare. Just know that when things break, you are going to need to know what stores have what, and so that way you can get what you need.
And this is a really good segue into something I wanted to say a while ago when you said you don't need to have money saved up and you can just dive right into it. What I would say to that, though, is transitioning into this lifestyle is definitely a learning curve, and I haven't been able to focus on my business as much these last couple of months as we learn. So it's nice that I did have money saved up. It was really, really nice, because it hasn't felt like there's been so much pressure to kind of keep going the way that I was going. But that's still very much a learning curve for us.
Just knowing that it's at the beginning, something to realize is that it's going to take some time to figure out exactly what you like.
To find your flow.
Just like anything in life. So it takes practice, because at the tent, like we talked about, it took a little bit longer. Now everything takes not that long.
Right.
So yeah, that's overall. I think that's a pretty good rundown on a lot of things. Is there anything that you in particular have learned?
I would say that I think the shower, heating up the water with the propane stove and putting the water in the portable shower
Yeah.
is a huge game changer. I have learned that I still haven't figured out a really easy way to shave my legs while we're camping. So I usually just do that when we get a hotel or an Airbnb. Just because I know these are questions that women think of.
How am I going to shave my legs?
Yeah, that is kind of a challenge. Let's see, other things that I've learned. I can't think of anything right now off the top of my head.
But also know that if you want a hot shower, there's something to realize as that pro tip as well. Like on our way here, we stopped at a place in Texas, just a place to get gas, and they had showers. They have showers there. So know that you don't need to get a hotel, or you don't need to get a campground even. A lot of truck stops will have showers.
I would probably rather shower outside than shower at a truck stop, personally.
Okay, honey. I'm just saying that's something to know.
Yeah.
Because they were all clean. There was nothing the matter with them. They were private showers. Like, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. You just go in there and shower and do your thing. I mean, just saying. That's always an option, is that you can go in and chill, and they're all over the place, especially in the Southwest. We have not, just so you know, if you're watching this, our adventures so far have been exclusively in the Southwest portion of the United States. So we don't know what it's like in the other parts. But we at least know what it's like down here. So we'll know when we are down here because it's cold and because we like the area, honestly. And so we'll see what happens when we start traveling up east in the spring. So.
Yeah.
I just stopped shaving, Wynn says. See? Hey, you don't even need to shave. Honestly, as a guy, just know that it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It does unless it. You just gotta understand. You know,
really getting in it now.
It does just don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't even care. I don't even notice. You don't think about that. Like, if you're a guy, you don't think about how often. If you wouldn't have mentioned that, I would have never thought about it. Maybe like I'm not looking at your legs like, okay, I see here. Like, that's not what it is.
Good to know.
So, where do you store your food? So I store my food in a cooler. So we have a Dometic fridge. All right. So we bought I think it's Alpine for Cool is the name. Okay. I don't know. It was a cheaper fridge, $250 off of Amazon. Somebody honking. So $250 off Amazon. And so you can run the fridge one of two ways. You can run the fridge, first of all, off of, you can just straight up run the fridge when you're using the car, and you can run it through the cigarette lighter. Okay, but you're going to want a solar generator because you just understand that you're going to want it. It's so nice. It's not crazy expensive. So just, that's one way. But so when you're going down the road, you can run your fridge and do it that way if you don't want to use your solar generator power. But if you get the generator we have, you can charge your generator and use it at the same time. You can charge your generator in the cigarette lighter, and you can run the fridge at the same time and still gain power on your solar generator. So just know that that's where we store a lot of our food. And the other food we have, so what we have is, I went to IKEA and I ordered, or I didn't order, I literally went there and I bought and I straight up built 2 shelves from IKEA, and you can just see those on the thumbnail. Literally on the thumbnail of this video, you can see the shelves, I'm sure, in at least one of them. So first of all, we have spices. We have one spice rack. We have one dish. We have one spice store, one dish store. In the spice store, peanut butter goes in there and like jars and stuff. So that's where we store some food.
We might do like an internal tour at some point when it's a little more organized. It's not very organized right now.
Oh yeah, and we can't move the camera on the way that I have it set up. We can't move the camera on live. Anyways, I mean you can a little bit, but there's so many cords. But yeah, I'm literally looking at it right now. If you're wondering what I'm doing, so. Yeah, we store our food in one of those. We store spices in one. We have one specifically for the just camping gear, and then we have one for pots and pans.
Yeah.
And so that's
another pro tip is Okay, and this is just hilarious to note is that in most relationships, what happens without fail is one person in the relationship is like an organizational neat freak, and what happens is we just attract somebody who is not very organized, and it's just how it is.
She's trying to talk that smack, and I hope she says she's unorganized.
What's that? It's just like the way the universe works, okay? But what even Nick has realized is that having an organizational system and knowing where everything goes is so crucial when you live out of a car or in any tiny space. Like knowing where everything is, because shit gets lost, and it just saves so much time, especially when you're packing in, packing out all the time. Just knowing where everything is and then knowing exactly where to put it saves so much time.
Yeah. So it's very crucial. I don't know where she's trying to go with that. We're just going to roll with it and say, first of all, we're not going to address what you just said. But what I'm going to say is that, yes, you need to be organized, because if you are not organized, you're going to have stuff everywhere. You're going to pack things up and you're going to be like, oh, God, we have so much stuff to pack up. It's a pain. I don't like doing this anymore. That's happened. So we got duffel bags. We got duffel bags. We have a duffel bag for our clothes. We have a duffel bag for our electronics, some of the extra ones. We have 2 backpacks for all my camera gear.
Everything goes in something.
Yeah, and everything has that specific thing. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Capricorn.
So, yeah. So, yes.
And another thing that Nick came up with that's really great is there's little hooks. There's little places to hang things along the sides of the tent. That's not what they're there for. They're actually there to strap the tent
carabiners
down. But we put carabiners around, and we hang stuff up. So you can hang the shower up there. You can hang. We have Nick, I'm seeing right now, like has his shoes hanging on one of them.
Yeah.
Like so we can hang things around the sides. So then that also creates more space once you get to a spot.
Yeah. And also, okay. So good questions. Good questions. How much do you carry with you? We carry about, well,
as far as what?
Food. So it's interesting because it'll be different at different times. If you know you're about to be off grid for a while, you're gonna buy foods like quinoa. You're gonna buy quinoa. You're gonna buy rice. We try to eat alkaline as much as we can, so we're buying wild rice. We're buying quinoa because both alkaline, and we're buying potatoes and things that are denser in that way, and things that don't need to be stored. They can store them outside of we can store them outside of the fridge.
Yeah.
So usually we have salad stuff in the fridge and fruits sometimes, and then that's pretty much it.
I would say what we've been doing is that we have like 7 bags of this powdered meal drink called cachava. We have 2 different flavors, vanilla and chocolate. It's really, really good. It has like all the nutrients you could ever need. So if we really needed to survive off of that for 2 months or so, we could easily, because we'd have probably longer because each bag is like a month supply for each person. So if we really needed to, we could survive off of that. And then we also at any given time probably carry like 5 decent sized bags of quinoa and a couple bags of rice, like things that we know we could get us through. But because we haven't been in survival mode, or we haven't truly been fully off the grid for a long period of time.
We've been off the grid for a week.
Yeah, the most. So we just, we usually go to grocery store and get our fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff like that for a week, and then we just go back to town when we need it. But I think it's just helpful knowing that it's like we could survive off that if we needed to, but other than that, we kind of carry about a week's worth of like fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah. So.
And we carry about 20 gallons of water with us at any time too.
Yeah. So basically, know that we have. This is the summary of that. 20 gallons of water. I'd say 3 months of straight cachava, which is a protein powder superfood complex.
Yeah.
So about 3 months of that only. Then we have probably I would say honestly about 3 weeks to a month of just regular food. We could really
like
get
dried food, like pastas and lentils and
pastas,
quinoa,
lentils,
rice.
Quinoa, rice, and those are basically it.
Yeah.
and then we have vegetables and all
and
that
stuff that we get a week at a time.
Yeah, and what's it like having a dog with you? Having a dog with you, it's really actually amazing. I think that
He loves it. He's so happy.
yeah, having a dog in general. If you have a dog, you obviously know that having a dog is literally just having a like unconditional love with you. At most times, sometimes they're salty.
Just like childlike innocence. He's kind of salty with us right now.
Yeah, but honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. The only thing about the dog and the rooftop tent to note is that you got to take the dog everywhere with you.
Yeah.
You got to take the dog everywhere.
Like
So-
if you had a motorhome, you could leave the dog in the motorhome. But yeah, he goes everywhere with us, and then Nick has to lift him up and down from the tent.
Yeah, but we got a harness for him, and it's really easy to lift him up, with that. And it's honestly was easy for me either way. Jax is only 50 pounds, so that's one thing to note. And first of all, I would like to say shout out to Texas for 0 dropped frames. This is the best stream we've ever had.
Woo! We got
And of course,
the
there's
best
something in my throat.
signal we've ever had, ever,
Mm-hmm.
on the beach in Texas, with very few people around, honestly.
Yeah, this is the best, definitely the best stream that we've gotten to do. So shout out to Texas for having amazing signal. Shout out to all of you for being here. We appreciate and love each and every one of you so much, and we appreciate your presence. So, and I honestly mean that. I'm not just saying that. I really mean that.
Yeah.
So,
We love you.
yes. And so overall, dog is bueno. And honestly, yeah, you have to take a dog everywhere. But where do you go when you live at a rooftop tent and you live like we do? We go on hikes. I ride my bike. We go to the beach. We go off grid. And like it's not like we don't go places that really don't require having a dog. Like we don't go to touristy places very often. At least not now. And the places we do, it's hiking, and you can take your dog.
Yeah, but just know, like, it works out well because I do not like going grocery shopping. It is so overstimulating for me, so I don't go grocery shopping very often. Nick does most of it, so I will sit in the car with Jax. That's just the only thing to keep in mind, is that when you go places like stores, grocery stores, all that sort of stuff, usually one person will have to stay with the dog.
Yeah, but you can also just leave here, depending on your dog. Some dogs just bark. You know those ankle biters that just bark when they're sitting in the parking lots at stores. You can leave your doors down at the.
We love all dogs.
Yeah,
We love all dogs.
I'm joking. So you can leave your windows down, go in the store. It's fine, depending on how protective your dog is. But it's yeah. So overall, we don't even go places where that's like, and it's like having a best friend. It really is like having a best friend, and it honestly is great. I don't regret a damn thing. Like
He's
I would
our
rather
protector too.
I would rather have a dog because, like, the other night there was something crawling out of the water, and Jack starts going off, and there was something. I don't know what it was because I didn't have the headlamp out, which I do now.
It might have been a turtle.
It looked like it was a turtle, so we got turtles coming after us, and we got to protect her.
Turtle. Yeah, he is very protective,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So overall, it's amazing. It's amazing. So if you had to pick one and only place to hunker down for 20 years straight, what would it be? Where would it be? Well, I think that's
In the rooftop tent or out of the
Is
rooftop
that in
tent?
the rooftop tent or is that not in the rooftop tent? Because I feel like it would be different. And does that mean we can't move the car? I need more specifics. But if I had to go just try and answer that off the cuff, I would probably say the one place I would hunker down for 20 years would probably be in a place where it doesn't get too cold. And
Yeah.
just think of all the places. What's up? I don't know if you could hear that.
Oh man.
It was a gator. No, it wasn't. Stop it. It was not a gator that was crawling out of the water. No way.
No. I don't think there's gators in the Gulf of Mexico. There are sharks though. I literally wanted to go for a swim and I looked up, are there sharks in the Gulf of Mexico in Corpus Christi, Texas? This one article written by a marine biologist said, if you're in the water, you're near a shark. I'm like, that's going to be a no for me.
Love you guys. Love you too, Alex. Love you too, brother. Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'll place
rooftop
the
tent.
hunker down.
Well, you said rooftop tent optional. Shout out Ethan. What up, brother? And
Hawaii, duh. I would hunker down in Hawaii for 20 years.
Well, if you think 20 years, I need to be in a place because I feel like within 20 years we're gonna have some sort of just like I want to grow my own food, and I want to be in a place where I can grow my own food and feel like I can have all year round growing. So I think just for like that's a hard question, but Hawaii probably.
I would say because Hawaii, you have
Some
the water,
tropical
you have
place.
the mountain, you have warmth, you have fertile ground. Yeah.
Yeah, places where you can grow stuff. That's what I'm like, and I'm not just
Age of
about.
Aquarius, baby. We
I'm not just all about growing stuff either, but I'm just saying I like warm weather. I've realized that the cold is just meh. It's meh. I mean, I like doing things in the cold, but when you're not snowboarding or snowmobiling or doing cool things in the winter, it's just everything's dead. It's a reset period for nature. Like, I'm just not with it when it comes to 20 years. So, no Alaska. I'm sorry. That would probably be Hawaii
Yeah.
for me.
I do want to visit Alaska at some point, though.
Oh, visit, yeah. Yeah, we're going to visit.
Okay, what else? Any more questions?
We'll probably get questions at some point, but
I'm trying to think. Did we talk about rooftop tent versus motorhome pros and
Okay.
cons?
You want to get it versus?
Yeah.
Versus round. Knockout round. Okay. Now, I feel like if we were going to versus it, the benefits of having a motorhome is you have more space, you have more stuff. You can have more stuff, obviously.
You have
And
a
that's
legit kitchen.
You have
that
a legit
don't have to
kitchen.
set up.
There's more room. There's a lot of benefits, but what you don't have is what a lot of people don't have is the money to get one, because it's a lot
It's
of
really
money
expensive.
for a decent one. That's not a rust bucket. You know, that's one thing, is that it's really expensive. Like most people, I'm not gonna. Well, I don't want to categorize the world, but what I'm saying is it's very expensive, and that's one thing. Like, and also another big thing about that for me is that you can't get a lot of places where you want to get. You got to sit in the campgrounds. But the plus of that is that you have walls and you can't hear people as well, or as much in a motorhome, because you don't have a soft tent. So that's a plus of the motorhome. But you don't get quiet when you go outside, and I feel like one of the whole points of living out here is to be in nature, baby.
In nature. Yeah. And you can't get to a lot of the really remote places that we've gotten to.
Yeah.
In an RV.
Yes.
Or with a camper.
Yeah.
And also the gas mileage.
Oh yeah, you're getting it's so much cheaper on gas. We get 22 miles to the gallon still.
Yeah. So this car probably got 28 miles to the gallon. Highway before we got the rev tent. Now it gets like 22 to 23, but you're still doing so much better compared to a motorhome, which first of all takes diesel, which is more expensive, and then you're getting like 8 to 10 miles to the gallon. So that's a huge thing too.
If you're just talking about funds, then yeah. But if you got unlimited budget, like what are we talking about? Because I mean, we hate the budget part. So if we're talking just straight up, what's the difference? I mean, you're gonna have basically a lot of mobility. Honestly, that's what it's really about, mobility. With a van, so let's jump to a van real quick. So for van versus rooftop tent, I feel like the main difference is going to be that you are much closer on mobility, and you can probably get like it's pretty similar with a van. But again, what is the thing about a van? Expensive. Vans are expensive as well, and if you can find a cheap van, great. But I think unless you're getting like a Sprinter or you're getting like a Ford Transit or something, you're not going to enjoy a van more than you are a rooftop tent if you're an outdoors person.
Yeah.
Because an outdoors person, if you have a vehicle, more than likely, you can, like most vehicles, you can get a roof rack on and get it. You can even get it on a Subaru. We've seen it. We've seen people out here in cars. So just know you can get it out here in cars. But anyways, the van versus is like, we've seen people in vans. There's people right down there in a van, and there's really not too much of a difference besides you have walls in a van, and a van is obviously more expensive. So the really nice thing about the rooftop tent is that it's easy to do and it's cheap, and you don't have to buy a whole vehicle. You can put it on a vehicle, so you can like add to what you already have.
Right.
So that's the big benefit, is that that makes sense. So overall, and also if you have like a iffy van, Yeah, I think I hit that note.
Yeah, I think we hit a lot of the points. I would say some obstacles maybe that we've overcome. Bees.
Wait,
We had-
before we get into the bees, we gotta hit all the things. We gotta talk about truck campers.
okay.
Because I just want to hit all the things so you know all the different things out here. Because we're out here all the time. We see what everybody has. Truck campers, don't have that much space. In a truck camper, you are pretty much. It's also expensive. Go look for truck campers on Facebook, Mark. But don't go on Facebook actually. Don't go on Facebook anymore. Facebook is not the place to be. Let's find a different place to sell things because we don't want to support what they do. No censorship. We don't want to support that. So, anyways. Go to a store and try and find a truck camper for cheap or anything close to this. You won't. With everything that we've mentioned, you won't find anything close. And if you do, it's probably older, and you can buy something brand new. So it really depends on what you want, right? So overall, truck camper versus this is that you have 2 areas in a truck camper as well, which is nice. And I wouldn't know the true difference until we actually did that. So
Right.
So overall, just expense. It's less expensive is the pro, but I feel like it's very similar. It's very similar to what you already have. So, who knows? Just curious, do you carry any protection? Yes, we carry protection. We carry multiple forms of protection,
Yes.
and so we have like obviously a dog for protection. We have the obviously American form of protection that you can obviously think of that we don't want to mention on YouTube because they'll probably ban us because that's how it is. That's
not
pretty much.
ban us, but we just
We don't
use your
want to.
imagination.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about. The thing that.
We also have like animal spray too.
Yeah, we got pepper spray. But honestly, you're not gonna need. I feel like if you're a loving person and you have loving intentions, most of the time, I mean, we haven't had any problems. 0 problems. Just know that like you're not gonna like for me it's been I'm talking about animals. I feel like your
Yes.
intention and where your vibration is honestly going to attract negative things into your life. So as long as you are getting it in terms of you're just happy and you're enjoying yourself when you're out here, you're not going to attract those things as much. And that's kind of more law of attraction, whatever. But
It's not necessarily though. There's a lot
just
of
karma, just consequences of what you're putting out. You're going to get back when it comes to
there's
that.
things that you can't avoid though, so it's good to be prepared.
Yeah,
and,
get
and
your protection.
also-
Might as well. you
Yeah,
know?
there are loving people in this world who have circumstances that happen to them that they didn't necessarily attract or
I know, yeah. I'm not trying to say a blanket statement that if you're not loving if something's happened to you. But anyways, yes, let's just whatever. Anyways, just carry protection if you'd like to. We do. We are set. And also know that you can always move, you can always do things and in a rooftop tent, you can even drive with the rooftop tent down if you need to go. If you need to go somewhere close, you don't have to pack it fully up.
yeah.
So that's also a thing. So, but yeah, I think we hit most of the other things that people have, and I already hit the hard shell because we are in a soft shell. So I already hit. I don't think a hard shell's worth it. And living like specifically out of your truck. I see some people, and I know some people that live out of their vehicles, like specifically out of their vehicles, and just know that was never an option for us because I'm too tall. I'm just straight up too tall. It's not possible because I'm 6'4", 6'5", and
Yeah.
I don't fit in anything. So I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to be too small. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to have enough space. You're not going to have a room.
Yeah.
So just get yourself a tent. So that's where I'm at that.
Yeah.
Did you get gator spray? No. Do they sell it somewhere? If you do, just send me a DM because I don't know where they sell it, but
He's
I'm
real
ready.
scared about them gators.
Yeah, he is a gator himself. So, anyways, so that's a good comparison of most things. I feel like we had some struggles with some bees, like you were going to talk about. We got some bees that literally would not leave us alone in Arizona. So you
Yeah.
just know that these things happen when you're living outdoors, you're traveling. You're going to find places that you don't like to be at, and that you might have to move
be
abruptly.
at. You don't like to be at.
Got him. Just know that you might have to move unexpectedly. Just know that also if it rains, you're gonna need to find a way to dry your tent, and if that be dry it with a towel, or if that be just letting it out in the sun and letting it air out.
Paying attention to if the car's on a slant, I feel like makes a big difference.
Yeah, we have realized that we are going to buy. We haven't bought this yet, but I feel like an essential that if I forget this later, just write this down. You are going to want to buy at least just one pair, so 2 leveling pads or wood blocks, something. You are going to want something to level your car, because a lot of places we stay, their ground is not level and the tent's like this. And we have had plenty of nights where we're sliding into our heater and it's like, ugh. But just know that you can solve that by having some sort of leveling system with that. So get yourself something like that, and that will solve that problem. Also with the heater, I just want to mention real quick that yes, propane heaters can kill you if you leave them on with no oxygen. It uses oxygen to heat the air, and so we actually have our window. We have the part that we get in the tent, we have completely open the whole night, and we still stay really warm. But it's also 40 degrees here, 30 degrees here.
Yeah.
I mean, below 30, you're just gonna when it was below 30, we started to close literally just close it halfway and then use a clip. So just know that we are very aware. We have a Mr. Heater propane tank, or Mr. Heater. We have the portable buddy is the propane tank that we have, and a 20-pounder that we hook up to, so yeah. I'll get into that in a second. Unless what else do you want to talk about? What else do you think is important for somebody?
I think we hit all the good points.
Yeah, I mean, the big things that we struggled with was obviously understanding we didn't need the toilet. That was honestly just one. It's not a big thing, but something that we learned is that the big things. Let's just go over what we learned. The big things that I learned, at least, and for you, that this is absolutely the best decision I've made. First of all, and it's the best thing I've done when it comes to living. Again, I just want to reiterate, it's so brilliant. It was not expensive, and I love it wholeheartedly. And that's what I learned, is that I feel like unless you're not an outdoors person, and unless you already don't want to do this, you're gonna like it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it eventually, because you're not gonna know that you're gonna like it or love it until you do it. So that's one thing, is knowing that that's what I learned. Don't regret it. Having the freedom to go anywhere, do anything, it's the best thing. I've wanted it my whole life to feel that free externally, and here we are. So that's what I've learned. I've also learned how to be humble enough to address when your partner's dealing with something or you're dealing with something, and to pull yourself and let yourself be, and figure out ways and modalities to feel centered, even when it's rough, when it's rough out here. And it's rough really when the weather's bad, honestly, is the only time it's rough, or there's people that are annoying you. Get a good pair of headphones is something I've learned. And I've also learned that there's crazy bees in Arizona. I've learned that we need the leveling. I think I pretty much nailed all of the hardships. We really haven't had that many struggles. Honestly, we nailed it mostly.
It was just trial and error, learning what we needed and what we didn't need in the beginning. But now,
most things that we needed, we had.
Yeah.
I personally love the shelves. That's what I learned. I don't know how you feel about them, but I really love the shelves. It feels homey, and I wanted it to feel homey, because if it doesn't feel like your home, then you're probably not going to want to do it very long. Knowing that there's a learning curve to learning what you like, what the people you're with like, and kind of figuring that out. I mean, in human design, she has a lot of undefined centers, and so a lot of the things she doesn't have a preference for, which is good, but also know that might not be the case for you. So you might both want to do different things, but it works really well for us. And if you're traveling solo, then that's something to understand, is that if you're traveling solo, then this doesn't really apply. But if you're with somebody, just know that you have to compromise. But luckily, we don't have to too much, because she's not really, she really goes with it. Because a lot of the decisions I make, you go with. And I don't think you would go with it because you don't want to, or because you're being some sort of way, but because you actually genuinely want what I want. Because obviously I'm not wanting irrational things. So, but yeah, overall, those are some amazing things that I've learned. And if I think any more while you go, then that'll say it.
No, I think you pretty much nailed it. I think mostly it's just learning that this is an amazing lifestyle that allows for a lot of freedom, but there is just a learning curve in the beginning. And as you learn, as you start to dwindle down, these are the material things that I definitely need, and these are the ones that I don't need. And as you start to get more of a system, like, it definitely gets easier.
Yeah, like we had 3 or 4 different time periods where we kept going to Goodwill because we kept getting rid of stuff. You're going to realize that if you are fully packed and you're too much packed, you're going to want to get rid of stuff because you're not going to want to keep packing and unpacking and packing and unpacking. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll find that you won't have that much. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll know more about what we've learned. But for the situation we were in where we needed a place to stay or we wanted to go on the road, we knew that we wanted to go on the road and we just decided to do it. I don't regret a thing, and I think it was definitely the right call. And I guess the drawbacks of it are just that you obviously don't have as much space as a house, and you don't have the walls where you have your own thing. But also know that in a rooftop tent, you can literally reverse that by literally just going places where it's quiet. And if you like the outdoors, then that's not even really that much of a con to not have those things, because you actually have better things. Because this is the point, is that you have better things because you can go anywhere. So you can go into nature with your home. How great is that? You can go to anywhere that allows vehicles and camping with your home. That is so beautiful. So you don't get those luxuries, but then you get this other stuff, which is just as good in my opinion, if not better. Because I knew when I lived in a house that I wanted to travel. I was tired of being in the same spot. I've been in the same city for 3 or 4 years at that point, maybe longer. I moved for a little bit, but then I came back. But I was just ready to travel around and see things and see the world. And I know that I'll eventually start traveling abroad and to different islands and things. But I know that this is the best way to start that I've found.
Absolutely. Are you going to give everybody the price rundown of things?
Yeah.
I'm going to get up and check on Jax really quick.
You want to check on Jax?
Yeah.
All right.
Let me see if I can get out of this position.
How long have we been?
My foot's asleep.
We've been live for a minute. We have been live for
a while, I think.
1, 2, 3. That's funny.
Of course we have.
Okay, so the price rundown, and here's the essentials. So this is going to be like the transition into the next part that I wanted to hit of this, which is what are the essentials of doing this lifestyle. And Jessie really was not too much of a part of this because I pretty much did. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that she's not here. Don't feel like I'll get her opinion on the essentials at some point. But I pretty much bought everything in terms of I figured out what we needed, and so let's get the rundown on all that. So this is what you're gonna need, or some things, and I want to just preface this by understand that I'm saying need when that's not really the word that I should be using or that I want to use. The word that I want to be using is actually these are the things that we have that have worked really well, and so these are some recommendations for you to get. So I'm literally looking at the rooftop tent setup right now, and I feel like what we have, obviously it's all okay. So get your pen and paper out if you want, or pause the video in increments if you need to. So the tent we have, which I would recommend to anybody because it's an amazing tent. The only problem is the zipper sometimes sucks, but we're figuring out a system to where that works better. But the tent that we have is a Smittybilt Generation 2 XL rooftop tent. Okay? So this tent is absolutely amazing. There's so much room inside the tent. We actually cut off the part that hangs down so that we can sit on the end. So we literally cut it with scissors or the knife. And so we don't have that part on it. And we got rid of the poles, and we don't do that. We're just going to have the treehouse set up. So that's the first thing. That's what we have. Okay? And then we have a Mazda, like I said, 2016 Mazda CX-5. Crossover. It's a crossover for those that don't know what that is. Not a car, not a truck. It's a crossover. So necessities for me are you're going to need okay, I'm saying a lot because I'm like looking at there's so many visual stimulants right now, and I'm not sure what to talk about first because I'm looking at so much. So, a camping stove is a must. Pots and pans is a must. We have two. This is gonna be a little bit different, but this is a recommendation. We have 2 toolboxes that we got at Walmart that we lock, but we keep clothes in there because it's not valuable in case somebody takes it, which I don't think is going to ever happen, but just we have that precaution. But we have 2 toolboxes that we use as a table that we never take off of the back, really, because we use that as a table. So we set the camping stove on the platform that sticks out, the hitch platform. We set the toolboxes on that, and then we use that as a table. So that always has its own table, so we don't have to have an extra table. So, because I know a lot of people are, well, how do I carry a table on top of it all? So, we have 2 Walmart toolboxes, which is a recommendation for sure. And so, the hitch platform is a huge recommendation. I say must. I mean, you can decide for yourself, but without it, it would be tough because the water jugs take up so much room. And so I would say the hitch platform, Harbor Freight, it's a 300-pound ATV carrier. The one with, if you're looking for it, it's the one with the sides that are like up. Their sides are raised. So 300 pound, they only have one on their website. So look that up if you're looking for that. And get a hitch receiver, obviously, so you can have a hitch on your car. It's not too terribly hard. I put the hitch on. It's not too terribly hard to put the hitch on yourself. You can get a hitch. Okay, pro tip again is you can get a hitch installed at U-Haul. Will literally order and install the hitch. They sell hitches there. If you want to get a cheap setup and you don't want to put it on yourself like I did, literally just go to U-Haul. They will have what you need. A disclaimer, they might not have what you need. But for the most part, they are going to have a lot of different things. So, hitch platform, must. So, yes, and then the IKEA drawers is a must for me. It's more of a recommendation. Some people I've seen have done totes, so you can do totes if you prefer. I'm just going to give you a rundown of what we have as well. So, and this is in no particular order, by the way. But, okay, this is definitely a must. There's not many things I say must on, but you need some sort of generator.
Mm-hmm.
You need some sort of solar generator. And I would recommend, the one we have, I would definitely recommend, but understand that the cigarette lighter thing broke for us, which kind of sucks. But the only way you don't get a solar generator is if you literally buy a 300 watt power inverter off of Amazon or anywhere. You buy it, okay. This is why I don't say must. Because you could do it. Okay, these are the things I think about. You could do it without it. But the way you would have to do it without it would be every time you wanted to run your laptop, it would have to be very low power laptop, or it would have to be something less than 300 watts, obviously. The cigarette lighter in our car only puts out about 150 or so max. And then it hasn't broke. So you can run, you technically don't need it. It's going to be so much harder without it, but you're going to have to run your car a lot, and you could get a power inverter. You could start your car and charge your stuff and then turn your car off, or start your car on and work. But every time you do that, if you do it that way, you're going to have to turn on your car every time. So just know that. But it doesn't use that much in idling, but then you're using gas, and it's like, meh. So we wanted to be more self-sufficient than that. So we bought the generator, and plus it's way easier with the solar generator. So I would say get the solar generator, 100%, so worth it. You could do it without it, but it's going to suck. So having a power supply off of the sun's energy is incredibly efficient.
So satisfying,
and
too.
So satisfying knowing that you're using the power of the sun, not fossil fuels.
And knowing that you're completely sustainable on your own with it.
Yes. Yes.
You know, you don't have to rely on getting power from another source.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
So.
But you are relying on it being sunny.
True.
You know, if it's cloudy,
then you got to use a cigarette lighter charger.
CHEM trails.
If there's things blocking the sun.
Things blocking the sun, then
man-made clouds blocking the sun.
Then you don't have as much luck. But
Yeah. So also, like I was saying, Jess definitely don't want you to think by what I said when she was gone that I meant that she didn't participate in it, but I'm just saying I did a lot of the research on this stuff.
oh yeah, this was 100% him. He said that he'd been researching rooftop tinting for 3 to 4 years before he did this. I knew about it about 3 to 4 days before we did it.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm got all the stuff, haha, I'm so cool. Like, that's not what I'm trying to get at. I was just trying to say, in case you didn't come back, that you're not missing a lot, but I still wanted to get your opinion.
Like it really was all him though. Like,
okay, as long as you don't think I'm coming at that with an ego, that's what I was trying to get across.
I don't think I contribute in a lot of ways, but this actual building and the car stuff and getting, that was all him.
All right, so we just hit the toolboxes, the platform, pots and pans, the camping stove.
Oh, did you say making sure you have a portable jump starter for your car?
Oh, no.
That is
You 100%, like literally 100%. This is the first thing that I'm literally going to come out and say, and no matter what.
Should I go get it so I can show it?
You can show it, sure, if you want.
Let me see if I can find it.
The one we got is a brand called Tac Life off Amazon, and what it is it's a portable battery charger that you literally plug into. You put the 2 prongs onto, and we get it, we'll show you, but you put the 2 prongs literally directly on your battery, and it will literally boost your battery enough to jumpstart it if your battery's dead. Oh, we have it. Sick. So
there you go.
If you're listening on audio, I'm sorry, but it's literally. Can you turn the camera up so I can see myself? I didn't have the back on, so I can't see what I'm looking at. Okay, you can see it. Yeah, so you plug this part into the actual battery part, because what you just looked at was the hookup. This thing takes like 2 hands to get out, I swear. Hold on. Okay. There we go. So this is the battery part. And so there's a battery, and it's actually nice to have that portable battery for backup anyways. So you need one of these, because we've had times where we woke up and we left the lights on, battery's dead, and we just accidentally used too much power and the battery's dead, left the lights on too long, the battery's dead. This has happened so many times. So play the radio till it dies. So just know that this is probably something that you want or you need. It's a must to have that, because if you get out in the middle of nowhere and your car battery's dead, there's nothing you can do, and you do not want to be stranded. That would be bad, especially if you don't have signal. Ooh, you gotta walk down the road. Ooh, we don't want that. We don't want that, no, chief. So cooler is a must, and it doesn't have to be a Dometic cooler that plugs in electrically. It doesn't have to be at first. You can get ice from the store if you want to start that way. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a lot cheaper to do that. To get just
Having good lights.
she's not by the mic, but she's saying having good lights. So this is actually a pro tip again, because I have actually not seen this on any overlanding stuff, but getting one of these. This is a reading light, okay? But you can use this reading light for like a headlamp. You can clip it on your hat. There's so many things you can use. This is so bright that you can use it as like a lamp in the tent, like to light the whole tent, and it's good. The one we have is Valvofo, but I looked for it, and they're not selling the specific one anymore, so I don't know what happened with that. But there's obviously going to be good ones out there. You might have to experiment.
So I'm literally going around the car and the tent right now, just looking at what we have. That's like definitely a game changer. Like having an arc lighter, I didn't even know. Yeah, so arc lighter is a game changer, because a lot of times you'll see people fiddling around. They're going to fiddle around with their lighters, because a lot of times lighters just won't light. So getting a butane lighter of some kind if you want, but then you got to get your hand close to it. What will you really use that for the most is to light incense when it's windy. It's really good. That's not the most important thing. Lighting the stove is the most important thing. Right. So lighting the propane stove has been such a pain without the arc lighter, because what happens is literally the flame on the thing won't light because it's too windy. And we even have the good lighters, and it still won't light. So just know that getting an arc lighter is it's so helpful for starting your stove. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely one thing that we have. And then the reading lights, getting yourself a rechargeable lamp is a good idea. Yeah.
And I know that you can get lamps that are specific to. You can get lamps that are specific to like propane lamps. We don't have a propane one. We just have like a USB rechargeable one, and so that's important. Also, one thing that we have that is also a game changer, and it doesn't matter if you have the generator for this. You at least need like some sort of smaller. Literally, it's right here. You need something.
You want me to grab it for you?
Oh shit!
I'm in a better position to get up.
That's okay. We're good. So you need something
good.
like this. We have Jesse's phone
Yes.
plugged into it right now. This is a portable bed. It's a portable power bank. Okay.
Yeah.
You need something like this because you don't really want to take up the extra space to put your generator in your car. And a lot of the times, if it's charging, if your generator's charging, you're not gonna want to just sit there and let it charge. You know. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm doing things while I'm talking, but take over for a second. But what I'm trying to say is that you're not going to want to put your generator up into your tent every time, and having two sources of power. We just use the power bank at night. It's fully charged. That thing charges my phone 9 times on a fast charge. It's just so incredibly amazing, and I would recommend it because you can take it on hikes. You can charge your stuff. You can just take it in your backpack. It's so good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we haven't really gone over. I can't see.
Talk about duffel bags.
Talk about duffel bags.
Yeah, how do we do our duffel bag thing?
Well, I think we talked about this already, but we have several duffel bags, and then we just have specific duffel bags for specific things. So we have one for my clothes, one for his clothes. We have one that has books and like yoga blocks, and basically kind of our stretching and workout stuff goes in that bag. And then yeah, we have another bag that's for cords and things like that. And
Yep.
Also, it's important to get some sort of outdoor, some outdoor compatible yoga mats or something like that. We have cork yoga mats that seem to be working fairly well. I'm not totally in love with them though, so if anybody has better suggestions for an outdoor yoga
Why
mat,
don't you like them?
because they're already starting to get holes poked through them.
Here, stand up.
One of them.
We're standing up.
We're standing up. All right.
Oh, shit. I just kind of want to stand up for the end of this.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting.
All right, so I just kind of want to stand up. We're going to stand up. Put this up here. We can talk into the same mic. Okay. Here, let's just get the other mic. This mic is easier because I can use my hands with it. So, anyways, this has been the experience. Hopefully you can see the background. We kind of have the portable. Okay, yeah, we're in the middle. Okay, so hopefully you can see the background better. And now we've kind of, this mic's kind of close. We're going to turn this mic. We're going to face that boy down. Okay, hopefully you can't hear us too much on the double. But anyways, I think we hit most things that we needed to hit for this video. We have a juicer also is a recommendation. We just like juicing. We have a smoothie maker, blender, whatever you want to call it. We have the recommendation is we also have a second tent that we use sometimes. So that's also a recommendation, is that if you want to have a second space, just get yourself a second tent. That way one person can chill in there. You can even sleep apart. I mean, we'll probably do that when it comes to summertime, but right now we need a heater. We only have one heater. So that's one thing to know you could do. We have their Igloo brand, and one of them we got from Sedona Waterworks, so that's cool. So we have 3 6-gallon jugs of water. That's how much water we carry. We have a 20-pound propane tank, and like I said, the portable buddy Mr. Heater that we carry. And other than that, we have Camelbacks. I'm just telling you everything we have now. Dog food.
We have, because you just can't carry as many things, so we have a couple small glass bowls that double as like Tupperware containers because we can put lids on them. But rather than having a large salad bowl that we carry with us, we just use our kettle pot that we also use on the stove, obviously, to cook things. But we use that because it's like a big, basically it doubles as a big bowl, and we can mix our salads in. And that way we don't have to carry, things just become multi-purpose.
Yes. Man. Let me know in the comments. Do we like the standing podcast better? How would you feel about doing podcast standing?
So short right now next to you.
I kind of like standing up.
I like standing too.
Maybe I'll do my podcast standing. Do you think? What do you think? If you were, let me ask you also. Let me know in the comments if you were a guest on my podcast, or it's really our podcast, me and you. This is for you. So if you're a guest on our podcast, would you want to do it standing or sitting? Because honestly, standing up, I kind of like the moving and grooving of standing. But yeah, so just I'm just curious of what people think. Do we like the standing part in the podcast? So I think that would be cool. What if if you stood there and I stood here?
You want me to stand over here right
And
now? Well, I can't because you have the mic.
I mean, yeah. Okay, something happened with that mic. That's why it's all screwed up and that's why it's upside down. It came all apart and it's just a mess right now.
This is just us in our trial and error process.
No, it's because actually we went down such bumpy roads that the mic thing fell apart. The mic stand literally fell apart. That's why that happened. So there's nothing I can do. But we kind of rigged it so it would work for tonight. So anyways, that should be mostly it. I mean, I have camera gear and privacy tent is a must for going to the bathroom out in public here. Dog bags to pick up your own voids, you could even say, if you needed to, which if you're out in nature you don't really need to, or if you're near water you need to, I guess. But dog food, yeah, pretty much it. And then spice drawer, pots and pans. Yeah, okay, that's it. I think we nailed it. So thank you, my friends who've been here with us from the beginning of this live stream and of the beginning of my journey and Jess's journey. We both appreciate you so much, and we are excited to see where this goes next. We are going to leave here tomorrow. There's so much else to do and see, and we are excited for the future.
Yeah, stay safe out there.
Stay safe. I don't like that.
Why?
I don't know.
Be prepared. Go get some food. And
I know
some
what you
water.
mean.
Everybody is safe, but just
You
be
are.
prepared.
You're still safe. I just want to make a comment. I would like to, while we're live here, we might as well. I just want to say about the world situation right now, and this is going to be irrelevant. This is going to be irrelevant. Like I said, everybody that goes by has got something. It's going to be irrelevant in the future, but for right now, if you're watching this, I just want you to know that you're loved, that this too shall pass, and
That's always relevant. You're loved.
yes. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of evil being eradicated right now, and even if we don't know what that evil is, and if we don't even know till afterward what it was, or if we never know what's actually happening, just know that you are always in this video game. You pulling on my shirt?
You're always.
What's happening? Are you falling?
You're always guided. You're always provided for.
Yeah, you're always
And
good.
Nick is always moving. That's why I'm holding your shirt, because you're literally knocking me over.
Hey. Okay. So, yeah, just know that you're good. Nobody can take away what you really are, and if something happens to you in this game, that's okay. That it's not really going to affect you because you are something outside of this game. And you're going to be just fine, even if you don't feel like you're going to be just fine. And I know that I sound like your parents when I say that, and I know that might sound annoying as hell, but the world is going through a metamorphosis of extreme proportions at this particular time, and sometimes we don't know what's good and what's bad and what's bad and what's good, and that's okay. But the important thing to focus on is just your own state of being, because your own state of being is always projected out into the universe, and so that's really the only thing that we can control on like a grand play, because the grand play is playing out no matter what we do about it, what we have to say about it. It's still going to be playing out, because there's some things that can't be changed. And yes, timelines change, and yes, things change. So I'm saying we still have some. I don't know how much play we have, and I don't think any of us know how much play we have. when it comes to that. But what I'm really getting at is that we got this. That the light will win, because the light always wins in the end. And I think come 2 months from now, I mean, people might be watching this 2 years from now and being like, "What are you talking about, buddy?"
Oh, they'll know.
Well, they're gonna probably remember
They're
this.
gonna know.
Remember this time period. But this is what I had to say during this time. So yeah. All right. Much love, my friends. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we nailed it.
I'm really loving doing this live format. I'm really loving live streaming. I'm really loving being out here and doing the podcast on the road. Everything about what I'm doing, I'm feeling really aligned with. I hope that you are also enjoying these live podcasts. If you are enjoying these live podcasts, please make sure that you are subscribed to the Nick Zai channels, because I'm seeing that there's a lot of people that watch that aren't subscribed. So please hit subscribe for your friendly neighborhood Saint Nick. And I'm not trying to beg you. I'm saying if you're enjoying it, then do that at least, right? It's free. It's friggin' free. So, anyways, we came out here, enjoyed it. It was an epic stream of epic proportions, beautiful quality. It will be on Spotify, YouTube. It's already on YouTube, but it'll be on Spotify, and I may add it to other sites as well. Maybe we'll put it on Gab. Maybe we'll put it on Instagram, at least clips. So it'll be all over the place. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Nick Zai, nick.zei, and I'll be on and I am on Gab, nick_zei, and I haven't told anybody that until right now. So congratulations, you are the first. If you are live, and if you're not, I'm sorry, but hey, you were there when it happened in your now moment. So, and if you aren't following Jess, she's at Joyfully Human, and that's spelled the normal way to spell joyfully and the normal way to spell human. And you can follow obviously our whole journey, and we're gonna have so many different types of content. And so also, I'm not trying to promote the out of myself right now. I'm not trying to. I'm just telling you all the different avenues that you can keep up to date with us, and also that you can learn from what we are here to do, which is to help you to improve your state of being, and to help you remember what you really are, and that your state of being on the highest level is actually immortal, and that you are not affected by this game. But in the 3D reality, the body is still affected, and so how to cultivate that body into a body that is more in line with who you are is what a big part of what we do is. And so yes, this video was not about that, but I think that's important to diversify yourself, so that's why we hit this.
Also because the spiritual nomadic community is growing too.
Louder?
Also because the spiritual nomadic community is growing as well.
Yeah, so I don't really know anybody that's doing this on the on like the grand scale that's actually doing this, and they're at least I wouldn't say they're showing this side of themselves and showing spirituality as well. So that's something that we're trying to do. We're trying to lead the charge, not just to lead the charge, but because we want to. We're not trying to be revolutionaries just to be revolutionaries, but because this is what we decided works for us, and we're just trying to share that journey. So, we struggle sometimes. We go through it just like all of you do. And we're here together with you on this journey. Telepathy will be active soon. We'll talk to each other very soon. My friend, I'm still available in many other ways besides that, obviously. So, other than that, I think we nailed it. And I think I've been hitting all the things. All right?
All right, we love you guys.
Yes, we do love you guys. And I'm going to go down here and end this. All right. We'll see you guys in the next.